Hi Boa, welcome to 10 Minute Talks. I'm Harshadeva.
Today, I'm honored to welcome Dr. Nadine Puechguirbal, a leading expert on gender, peace, and security with more than 25 years of experience across humanitarian, development, and peacekeeping context. Through her career, Nadine has worked extensively on safeguarding and protection from sexual exploitation, abuse, and sexual harassment, advising United Nations agencies, NGOs, and international organizations around the world. Her work has included supporting humanitarian efforts in countries such as the Democratic Republic of Congo, Somalia, and Haiti, while also contributing to global policy, training, and accountability efforts across the United Nations system. She currently provides strategic leadership on safeguarding, gender equality, and survival-centered approaches, and serves on the board of advisors on the Master of Science in Humanitarian Action at the University of San Diego.
Thank you, Nadine. Thank you very much for joining me today. Nadine, this year makes the 25th anniversary of United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325. Looking back over the last 25 years, what progress stand out to you most, and what challenges remaining unchanged?
All right. Thank you for the question. I don't think we talk about Resolution 1325 and the Women, Peace and Security agenda anymore. I don't think it interests anybody except women groups, civil society organizations on the ground, right? But of course, we had some progress. Of course, the WPS, the Women, Peace and Security, the language is now embedded within Security Council resolutions, right? We have national action plans translated in different languages all over the board in different countries. But so that's something. But let's be honest about the gaps, because today, my assessment is that women remain absent from the rooms where war and peace are debated, discussed, and decided, right? And the war in Iran is a case in point. Where are the women, right? So in addition to that, I think it's a little bit of a situation that is, hypocritical, you said, when since the creation of the UN, the institution never had a woman secretary general, right? So how do you want to have an organization that can lead by example if they are not walking the talk? And I don't know if you noticed, but recently at a debate in Geneva, I think it was in Geneva, there was a debate among candidates for the post of Secretary General, and one of the male contenders declined to share a stage with the female candidates. I think he said that he had a conflicting timetable, right? So maybe he knew he couldn't compete with the women and he would look incompetent. So that tells you a lot about how seriously women's leadership is taken at the highest level of the institution. So I think it's not a question of competence for women. It's a question of legitimacy, right? So what I want to say, I want to give you a strong sentence for that. I think we have institutionalized the rhetoric of inclusion for the Women, Peace and Security agenda while protecting the architecture of exclusion. Okay? So that's not progress for me, that's performance, okay?
Thank you, Nadine. Thank you very much. My second question is, there is a growing debate within the women, peace and security agenda that representation alone is not enough. Has too much attention been given to increasing the number of women in institutions and not enough to transforming the institutions themselves?
Yeah, well, I mean, then I can turn the question back to you. My question would be, are we transforming institutions like the UN, or just adding women to a broken system that is absolutely not inclusive, right? So no, I don't think we're paying enough attention to transformation. And that's because it's by design. The system has been designed to exclude certain category of the population, right? And for instance, adding women to peacekeeping operations, peacekeeping forces, or security institution is the path of least resistance, if I could say, right? Because I think it's a little bit of a trick that is played by patriarchal organizations like the UN. Adding numbers, adding women will allow institutions to claim progress, but without challenging the patriarchal culture of the institution, right? That is shaping the mandate, shaping the hierarchy. And I think people understand numbers better than talking about gender mainstreaming, because nobody understands what mainstreaming means, right? So maybe we need to change our language, right? So I think the hardest question that institutions now, like the UN, need to ask themselves, what if the way we define security, the way we train personnel, we measure success with all our indicators, and we reward behavior, is itself the problem? And let me just give you a concrete example, because we can reach gender parity in a peacekeeping mission. It's not difficult, okay? You just add women, you call for more female peacekeepers, but even adding numbers, is it enough when you have a peacekeeping force that tolerates sexual exploitation and abuse, that will prioritize militarized responses and sidelines local organizations, and especially women's organizations and women knowledge, right? So that's my big question. And again, I'm repeating this. What if the way we define security, we train personnel and we measure success and reward behavior, is itself the problem?
Nadine, I think many practitioners genuinely want their projects to be more gender sensitive, but often struggle to move beyond policy requirements and checklists. Based on your experience, what practical advice would you give to those working on the ground?
Yeah, no, please, not another checklist, because that's exactly that's the easiest way to move on. At the UN, each time there is a problem, you either create a new checklist or a task force. Okay, so let me give you two things now. Two pieces of advice based on my experience. First, we need to be more critical in deconstructing the system. So start where the power is embedded. Challenge the patriarchal culture of the institution, okay? So before designing any gender-sensitive project, you ask yourself, who holds decision-making authority and power, and whose knowledge counts? And if the answer is still predominantly men and external actors, the new checklist you're building, it's just cosmetic change. So what we need to do is to really shift resources and authority to the local people on the ground, and especially they're the real actor, the frontline humanitarian actors, and especially hand over power to local women's organizations, not only as implementing partners, but as leaders, leading the humanitarian process or transformative approach, right? So this also is a responsibility for donors to guide the transformation, right? And my number two advice will be stop asking women to fix institutions that weren't built for them. Because gender advisors and focal points, as you know, they are chronically under-resourced and over-blamed for failures, right? And so if your organization is serious about gender, or supporting the women, peace and security agenda, a gender analysis should be everybody's job, and resources should be given to all the humanitarian actors, it shouldn't be a side task assigned to one woman in the room, okay? And remember, and I will finish on this one, we can't change a patriarchal system from within with the tools we have right now. We need a new system that is more inclusive and fair. And I will leave you with a quote by the feminist activist Audre Lorde, who said, "For the master's tool will never dismantle the master's house. They may allow you temporarily to beat him at his own game, but they will never enable you to bring about genuine change." I leave you with this. Think about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadine. Thank you for this inspiring and thought-provoking conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.